What's good? This is another Bite Down Boxing video. I'm the host of the Bite Down Boxing podcast that's available on the Team Left Jab network. Google that, you can find it. It's out there. And quickly, you may not rock with this video, but I'm really not here. I don't have a lot of friends in this thing. I'm not really looking for friends. You know, I'm just saying stuff that I would say in my car that stands out to me. So, feel free to unsubscribe, subscribe, make a comment or whatever. But I'm going to speak on some things. I was going to talk about this on the podcast tonight, but I don't know who listens to the podcast. I get very little feedback from the podcast. So I'm going to do it here and let the dust settle how it may. But what I wanted to talk about, again, was yesterday's final press conference with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, and deal with kind of the fallout from the Radio Rahim situation and just some underlying aspects of this bout that are a little disheartening, frankly. So let's jump into it. What I just mentioned, the racial component that's here, that's being played out in social media, it's a little disheartening and it's a little reckless, because the two men that are going to fight from the fan bases, and don't get me wrong, I know I'm probably the Tom word may get hurled, but I know who I am and what I'm about, and I know the challenges that are out there that we have in this society and everything. I'm aware of all of that, but how this is playing such a major role in this particular fight baffles me, because of the fact that, and I'm talking about the racial component, these guys needed each other. Deontay Wilder needed Tyson Fury and vice versa. Tyson Fury needed an offer or an opportunity such as what Deontay Wilder can give to him, because neither guy could get a fair shake from Eddie Hearn and the big fight that everybody wants to make. So these two men needed each other. And personally, from what I can tell and what we're allowed to see, I don't think either one of these guys dislike each other personally. I don't think either one of them has a disrespect for each other's background or community or ethnicity or however you want to look at it. Tyson Fury is named after Mike Tyson, from what I understand. So same thing with the Redskins. Like, how do you name something? How do you give a name to something that you supposedly hate? Something that you love? So it amazes me that two guys who need each other for legacy and economic purposes, how out of that could come the story. I mean, this racial issue here. It's amazing. So that was one thought. Then yesterday we get into this situation, this altercation, things blow up at the press conference between Wilder and Tyson. Well, I keep stopping on Tyson Fury's name. Maybe because he was gone for so long. But things boil over, and I may be wrong here. I didn't feel like looking at it again. But I thought while they were on stage, Deontay Wilder said, that's when the comment was made about my people have been fighting for 400 years. Fury had said something about his people, whatever. Okay. But that's what was said up on stage in the midst of all of the action, right? If I'm wrong, then I guess the rest of this whole video, I'm just looking more of an idiot. But I thought that's what I saw. So then, sometime after that, we see Radio Rahim down in the crowd in the media scrum asking his question. And Wilder goes off on him. Shortly after the altercation on the stage, Wilder goes off on him. And then today, the whole world is coming at Radio Rahim. Now, I got another issue with Radio Rahim that's kind of insignificant. But and I also put this disclaimer out there. I actually ended up working with Radio Rahim, just being his cameraman at a fight in DC a year, 2 years ago or something. Was my first. I had never even known that brother, but I was there for another fighter with his family and like in support of him. And it was the first event that I attended. It was right when I started writing about boxing, and I didn't even know this world existed on with boxing YouTube channels. So I spent the night supporting him. Make what you want for the brother. I mean, I think he might have paid for my food that night, which was some great Middle Eastern or Indian food in DC. But it wasn't no networking after that. Like once I got down the road and I couldn't get him to come on my podcast. I wouldn't even ask him at this point. But now that I know the game a little better, there would be no reason for me to ask him. But it is what it is. I do know him. I spent a night picking his brain, shadowing him, if you will, and all of that. But no, I don't have any real love for the brother, more so than anybody else. But I'm not defending him. I am defending him. He said, "What did you mean by that?" And then Deontay blew up. And it went into the Uncle Tom stuff and all the emotion and the energy, high energy and elevated energy and all of that. But for me, if we can pause for a second and understand one another sometimes. He said, "What did you mean by that?" He's giving you an opportunity to expound on what you set up on the stage in the midst of the action. But what do you mean? What did you mean by that? That your people have been fighting for 400 years? That was up there. Now down here, expound on that. Expand on that. Elaborate on that. Discuss it at length or in more detail so that people that weren't here or people elsewhere that may see this, let's talk about what you said. That's how I took it. That's how I took it. It was a fair question, in my opinion. I've been on a press call, on a media conference call with Deontay Wilder, where he spoke on this for like damn near 7 to 10 minutes. Somebody had asked a question, and this is kind of the turn that the conversation took. He spoke on this for 10 minutes. And some of his frustration with maybe his popularity or his following or his lack of support from American sports fans, I'm not saying that none of that is unfounded. And the reasoning that he gives, I'm totally not saying that. But here is Rahim doing his job. But you come off the stage, like I said, emotions, up, energy up because of the altercation, and now you explode on this brother when he asking you to speak on it. So I did some light digging, before I move on. Well, this is kind of hand in hand. But just because a black fighter, a brother, gets asked a question, it doesn't mean that the person asking that question doesn't know what the hell they're doing. It doesn't mean that it's an inappropriate question or a lame question. You're asking a question. Not to say that I haven't asked a few dumb questions. But I looked into a little bit of journalism or being a journalist. And Committed Observer is part of this. This is from the American Press Institute webpage. And by Committed Observer, it means journalist is not removed from community, though at times may stand apart from others so as to view things from a different perspective. Then let's also look at another phrase that I found on there, objectivity, because we got a lot of bias in this game, a lot of bias, and it's killing stuff. Because we can all go in here and find the people that we want to listen to and rock with based on them saying the stuff that we already believe in and nobody ever challenging one another. But objectivity is a key part of this game too. Objectivity called for, this is also off the American Press Institute website. I don't even know if they're official. They just said some stuff that supported what I'm saying. But anyway, objectivity called for journalists to develop a consistent method of testing information, a transparent approach to evidence, precisely so that personal and cultural biases would not undermine the accuracy of their work. Rahim said, what did you mean by your people? Not because he's separating himself from black people. He's separating himself from the story, from the subject. That's why he said you made the statement. I want to know what you meant and what you were referring to. Please expound on that. What did he have to say? Please expound on that, brother. Please expound on that, king. It's not, he didn't make the statement. He's saying, can you elaborate on what you meant up there? So I'm struggling to see. So I can fall back. Like I said, it wasn't a gotcha question. It wasn't to make him look stupid. You said it. I'm asking you to expand on it. Help us explain. Help us understand here. And then the ultimate thing in the community right now, you can have a long thought, a long drawn out complex thought with a bunch of nuance to it and slick stuff to it. And it means nothing if it can be summed up with a 4 or 5 word phrase. So here it is. Radio Rahim asked you to explain what you meant. Fair question. It's a platform here. We got time here. This is obviously a volatile moment. People want to know. People want to know more about it from all types of angles. Can we discuss it right here? He was respectful in how he posed the question. And you just say it. You make him look stupid because you can simply say what's understood doesn't need to be explained. So that's what, 8 words maybe. So it's not the 4 or 5 word phrase. But instead of you talking about what you brought up in the heat of the action, instead of you building on that right here and continuing the conversation, this brother is out of pocket because he asked you to, let's talk about that. Let's have further discourse on that. And now today, Radio Rahim, who does all the hustling and the grinding and the working and everything that he's been doing, and I don't really rock with him like that. Not because I'm jealous or envious or he's trash. I'm too busy doing my own thing, to be honest. So, and I don't like to let other people's information or work influence what I'm doing and what I'm going to say. I don't want to get on my podcast and get ready to and run into a dead moment where I need to say something to fill time, and I grab somebody else's thought and then don't credit them for it. So that's why I try to minimize kind of what I watch and what I listen to and take in and whatnot. But now today, his whole reputation is trash, mainly from a certain community who's calling him a Tom because he asked a brother to expand on something that he brought up. Wow. So that's it, man. Like I said, the genesis of all my thing was the Pay Me No Mind podcast, sports and entertainment podcast. So if you want to pay me no mind, that's fine with me. If you want to subscribe to the channel, that's fine with me. If you want to make a comment down in the bottom and say whatever, that's fine with me. This is how I look at it. I think people are quick to rush to say whatever and to disagree with everything that somebody says just to disagree. And sometimes we don't even fully understand the context of stuff. So I thought I'd step into the void real quick and try to help us out. Might have failed miserably. Maybe not. I don't know. But that's it. I might not even do the podcast tonight and get my victory, my prediction for the victor of the fight Saturday. But anyway, again, thanks a lot for your time. I know this was 15 minutes by the time I shut this down. But, have a great day. Enjoy the fight. If we don't holler again, we don't hear each other, we don't interact at all. Enjoy the fight. And I'm out. Peace.